Three gunshots ripped through the quiet of a sunny afternoon in Westbrook Heights, the kind of suburb where people are used to the sound of lawnmowers and kids laughing, not screaming, and sirens. A man collapsed next to his black SUV, his phone slipping from his pocket, still connected to a secure Pentagon conference call. On the other end, 12 of the most dangerous soldiers in the country, men and women who had followed him through ambushes and black ops missions, froze as they heard his ragged breaths. Then silence. Jack Morgan had been home for just 3 days after 18 months overseas, training elite operatives in places that didn't exist on maps. 3 days to be a husband, a father, a regular man, instead of a battlefield commander. He'd thrown on a gray shirt Grace loved, kissed her goodbye, and headed out to grab a few things for their daughter Emma's birthday. He parked the black SUV in the upscale shopping district of Westbrook Heights, unaware that a patrol officer's eyes had been on him the whole time. Officer Craig Allen didn't like what he called anomalies. And to him, a black man behind the wheel of a luxury SUV in his perfect white suburb was exactly that. He flicked on his lights, adrenaline buzzing, as if this was a takedown, not a traffic stop. Jack saw the flashing lights in his mirror and felt that familiar tension creep up his spine, the one every black man in America knows too well. He eased to the curb, hands on the steering wheel, breathing slow and steady. "My license is in my back pocket, registration in the glove box," Jack said clearly, voice calm, almost too calm. "Yeah, sure. Move slow." Allen barked, hand already resting on his weapon. Jack followed every instruction to the letter. He'd been here before more times than he cared to count. He'd survived ambushes overseas by staying calm, reading danger, keeping his heartbeat steady. But here in his own country, that skill felt more like a curse. "Step out of the car," Allen ordered. "Mind telling me why I was stopped, officer?" "Step out. Now." In Jack's ear, through the Bluetooth system, a quiet static buzz reminded him that his secure Pentagon call was still live. His team was still there listening. He stepped out slowly, hands visible, posture controlled. Allen's voice crackled over the police radio. Suspect non-compliant. Agitated, requesting backup. Lies. Jack's jaw tightened. By now, Captain Maria Santos was already recording the call, her hand clenched around her phone as she paced her apartment. Sergeant Leo Ramirez was tracing GPS coordinates in real time. These were people trained to extract hostages, topple enemy cells, and disappear without a trace. Now they were forced to listen as their leader was treated like a criminal for daring to breathe. Allen searched the SUV like he expected to find an arsenal. Grocery bags spilled out, a cake mix, dinosaur candles, strawberries, a pint of vanilla ice cream Emma had begged for. Allen sneered, tossing items aside. "Where are you headed with all this?" "Home," Jack said evenly. "For my daughter's birthday." Allen's lip curled. "Don't get smart with me, boy." The word hit like a slap, sharper than any blow. Jack's eyes flicked to the officer's gun, now unholstered. He raised his hands higher. "Officer, I am unarmed. I am not resisting." On the ground, Jack bent his knees slowly. The phone slipped from his shirt pocket, clattering onto the pavement, glowing bright, secure call. Live. Allen jumped back like it was a threat. "What the hell is that? My phone. It just fell." "Don't move." Jack froze mid-crouch, and then bang. One shot tore through his chest, spinning him back against the SUV. Bang, another to his shoulder. A third went wide, cracking into a nearby tree. Maria covered her mouth, tears stinging her eyes as she listened to his ragged breaths. "Tell Grace, I love her," Jack whispered hoarsely, voice fading. "Tell Emma her dad tried to make it home. Ghost team, you have your orders." And then silence. They buried their grief under military discipline. Maria's voice was calm as steel as she took command of the team. "This isn't revenge, it's justice." Ramirez had already pulled Allen's file, 17 excessive force complaints in less than 2 years, all resolved internally. Daniel Cho, their communications expert, uncovered a media smear campaign in motion before Jack's body was even cold. Anonymous claims that Jack was unstable, faked his service record, posed a threat. "This isn't random," Ramirez said quietly. "Allen's part of something bigger." He was right. Within hours, they'd mapped a shadow network called Patriot Shield, a web of officers across 3 states targeting military families of color, silencing anyone who questioned them. Jack had been building a case. He'd almost finished it. Now his death was meant to bury it. Maria met with Detective Sarah Ford, a young cop who'd witnessed the shooting and had the courage to reach out. Sarah's hands trembled as she slid a recorder across the table. "It wasn't law enforcement," she whispered. "It was an execution. And they'll kill me too if I talk." "You won't be alone," Maria promised. Sarah's recordings confirmed what they feared. Patriot Shield wasn't just a rogue cop or two. It was organized terror. Good cops were silenced with threats. Families who fought back were neutralized. Jack wasn't their first victim. He was their biggest threat. Grace opened the door to find Maria and Daniel standing in full uniform, carrying folders heavy with truth. Emma was upstairs, coloring, blissfully unaware of the storm downstairs. "Your husband wasn't killed because of a misunderstanding," Maria said softly. "He was targeted because he was about to expose them." Grace flipped through photos, diagrams, reports. Her hands shook as she realized Jack had been fighting a war right here at home. She glanced at a picture of Emma's smiling face. "If I have to stand in front of every camera in this country to make sure they can't do this to anyone else, I will." That night, Ghost Team Alpha and federal agents finalized Operation Sentinel, a dawn sweep to dismantle Patriot Shield. They'd planned for 2 more days of prep, but Ramirez's surveillance intercepted chatter. "Clean everything. Tonight. Evidence destruction, witness elimination." Maria slammed her fist on the table. "We move in 5 hours." At 5 a.m., Westbrook Heights woke up to flashing lights and helicopters circling. The FBI surrounded Allen's house, moving like ghosts through the dark. He stumbled out in a t-shirt, shock plastered across his face. "Craig Allen, you're under arrest for conspiracy, domestic terrorism, and the murder of Major Jack Morgan," an agent barked as Allen was cuffed. The neighborhood looked on in stunned silence. Across 3 states, 43 officers and commanders tied to Patriot Shield were taken down simultaneously. The evidence was airtight recordings, bank statements, internal emails. By 6 a.m., Daniel's carefully prepared media packages hit at every major outlet. The narrative wasn't officer-involved shooting anymore. It was domestic terror cell within law enforcement exposed. Families of the 14 other victims watched the news and finally saw the truth. Sarah Ford was escorted into protective custody. Grace held Emma in her arms and whispered, "Daddy was a hero, and they can't hide it anymore." At Jack's funeral, Maria stood at attention as the folded flag was handed to Grace. She could still hear his voice. "You have your orders." They hadn't avenged him, they'd finished his mission. But even as the nation reeled from the arrests, whispers began online. Can we trust the government's story? Why is the military investigating cops? Are we being told the full truth? Maria scanned the crowd. Behind the grief there was doubt, fear, anger. She knew this wasn't over. Patriot Shield had been dismantled, but the culture that birthed it was alive and well. Justice was only the first step. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Can justice truly exist in a system that protects itself first? Have you ever seen someone treated unfairly just because of their race or uniform? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like Jack's can't be buried. And if you believe truth matters, share this video because some orders can never be left behind.